Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about 3 natural ways to improve your libido at perimenopause and menopause. I'm Dr. Diane Mueller. I'm your libido doc. I specialize in educating and supporting women of all ages get their libido back. Now, there's 2 camps of types of women as far as thought process that I find typically happen when libido is lost. There's a group of women that sometimes when libido is suffering will just say, you know what? This is not something I'm interested in. I don't really care about sex anymore. I'm just going to focus on other things. Now, I could list off about 30 to 100 different reasons of why healthy sex is actually part of a good health regimen and what sex provides for us as women, from hormonal balancing to sleep and on and on and on. That's a topic for another video. You can check out other videos in this channel for that. But in this video, we really want to focus on if you're in that camp of women that when your libido goes down, you're feeling a sense of grief, a loss with it, feeling maybe guilty. Sometimes with partners, if libido goes down, there can be a sense of guilt of like wanting to show up for a partner in a way that is difficult. Or sometimes there's just this whole sense of like, oh my gosh, I've never really experienced a huge libido in my life, and going through midlife and some of these changes, sometimes it sparks something in women to say, you know what, I'm now or never. Like, I'm going to get out. I'm going to have a sex life. I haven't done this. I need to do this. And that's where the exploratory process starts. Now, there's a lot of different reasons from a root cause perspective why libido is low. And certainly hormones are a part of it. So absolutely, paying attention to getting your hormones tested is a really important thing. But one of the things that's also important to understand is when we're talking about the results of your lab tests from your hormones, we want to look at them in a lot of different ways. You want to, if you're a menstruating woman, get your labs done between about day 18 to 22 of your cycle. But whether you're menstruating or not, you want to make sure that you are considering your lab test, but also your symptoms, right? So when your hormones are balanced correctly, the symptoms of hormone imbalance tend to go away. You tend to feel better. So if your labs say you're normal, but it feels like your hormones are all out of whack, we want to take that into consideration as well. You want to be an advocate for yourself. So, one root cause is definitely getting your hormones tested and looking at those things. Now, from a natural solution, almost all women across the board are deficient in a precursor hormone called DHEA. DHEA is a hormone that is from our adrenal glands, and we take DHEA and we convert it into things like estrogen and testosterone. So oftentimes DHEA is low throughout your life as women, and the lab values of DHEA and the storage form of DHEA, known as DHEAS, typically are oftentimes reported, the reference ranges, and many times are not reported very well. Most women, if they do a blood test for DHEA sulfate, known as DHEAS, they find that they feel best when their hormones are between 200 and 300. Now, if you have 100, come back on a lab test, you're gonna be told you're normal, but you're not optimal. So you really want to optimize DHEAS and DHEA, and a lot of women get amazing benefits from applying DHEA to their vulva. Right, so when we apply the cream topically there, it absorbs really well. It actually can help with vaginal atrophy and vaginal dryness, some of these common symptoms we see as we start entering perimenopause and menopause. And it's extremely safe as a supplement. So making sure you're balancing your DHEA is essential. Getting quality products, putting them on your vulva is amazing for really repairing some of that tone there, that atrophy, that tissue. You also want to make sure that you are doing pelvic floor exercises. So this is another natural remedy. So one of the things that we see as we go through perimenopause and menopause, we see that the muscle does not stretch and relax properly. So proper muscle tone anywhere in our body is supposed to go through contraction and relaxation. And your vaginal muscles, your pelvic floor muscles, all of this is very similar, right? And since we typically don't go to the gym and we'll work out our pelvic floor, as we age, sometimes these muscles don't work as well. That lack of movement of these muscles leads to this term we call lack of elasticity, which is about the change in how these muscles function. Oftentimes when these muscles aren't used, one, that can lead to things like pain with sex because they don't stretch the way they're supposed to. Secondly, we can get some numbness, we can lose feeling, and sex can just like not be as pleasurable when these muscles aren't working as well because that contraction and that relaxation is actually related to part of the pleasure we feel with sex. So pelvic floor exercises are things like Kegels or jade egg exercises. These types of things are really done to help strengthen the muscles, but you want to make sure whether you do a classic Kegel or you do jade egg exercises, which is where you get a crystal jade egg. The ones that are designed for this have a hole in them, so you can put a piece of string or dental floss. That allows you, when you insert the jade egg intravaginally, you want that string hanging out, kind of like a tampon, so you can easily get the jade egg out. But when you're doing jade egg exercises or Kegels, with jade egg exercises, you contract your pelvic floor muscles around the jade egg, allowing you to have something to squeeze onto. But the big thing with whether you choose Kegels or jade eggs, the big thing with this is relaxation. You want to make sure if you're contracting, you're also relaxing. So if you're going to contract around the jade egg or you're going to contract like a Kegel, you want to make sure then you're going to relax your muscles just like you would at the gym. You're going to contract and relax your muscles. So that will help build up the pelvic floor. Sometimes what can happen too for women is because of the tightening and the non-relaxing of these muscles, they're almost like stuck in this position, and they don't allow for the dilation very well. So when you go through intercourse and you actually have insertion, it can hurt because you don't have that stretching capacity. It's almost like as we get older, you know how we need mobility and stretching more and more and more. Same thing goes for our pelvic floor muscles. So you can actually also get, if you're having this problem, you can get things called vaginal dilators. Vaginal dilators are these small types of contraptions. You get small sizes and you graduate up that you use actually to help stretch out these muscles. So you can start with a small dilator in time. You do your exercises of relaxing around the dilator, and then you start putting bigger and bigger dilators in. That can also help with the elasticity, keep that muscle tissue really, really, really strong. And then the third thing I'm going to say from a natural remedy is exercise. So one of the things that's really important to understand is that as women, we have erectile tissue too. In fact, we have as much erectile tissue as men. Men have a little bit more ease of blood flow to their erectile tissue than women do. So as women, as we age and our circulatory system tends to weaken, women oftentimes feel that impact, sometimes even more than men. Men obviously feel that too with erectile dysfunction and these sorts of things. But for women, that lack of circulation leads to a lack of arousing of the tissue, lack of blood flow, lack of lubrication. That can feel really bad. Now, I definitely recommend using, if you're finding that you're not well lubricated, you want to restore some of the root causes of that, balancing your hormones, bringing more circulation, but using lube. There's nothing wrong with using lube. In fact, I encourage using lube. Uber Lube is a silicone-based lube that is one of my favorite lubes on the market for its viscosity and simplicity of ingredients. Every lube has its different pros and cons. We're going to talk about pros and cons of various lubes in a different video, so watch out for that. Please subscribe to the channel if you want the notifications when that comes out. But for your third and final step here with the circulatory system, I really encourage you to exercise. And by exercise, I mean HIIT training or some sort of high-intensity interval training. We really want to do this because that's going to help huge amounts of dopamine. It's actually going to increase testosterone. It's going to improve your circulation. It actually will help things with like osteoporosis and bone building, these things as women we need to be really considering as we age and go through the aging process. So just make sure that you are considering all these things, getting good hormone tests done, using DHEA on your vulva, working on your pelvic floor muscles using Kegels or jade exercises, and making sure to relax as well as contract, and then do HIIT type of training to improve dopamine, your happy hormone, and to improve your circulation, which will trickle down to your lady parts. It'll trickle down to going to your vulva, to going to all of your female anatomy, so that you can continue to restore sexual health and function. This is good for you, this is good for relationships, this is good for stress, and so much more. Thank you for watching. Please don't keep me a secret. Send this to your friends and family if this has been helpful, and subscribe if this is useful. I'll see you in the next one.